Have you ever felt like your thoughts existed on a different frequency? Like your mind was tuned into a deeper signal, but the world around you was still stuck on static? If that feels familiar, you're not imagining things, you're not being dramatic, and you're definitely not broken. You might just be a deep thinker. And in a shallow world, that's both a blessing and a burden. But why? Why does thinking deeply, seeing through things, lead to isolation? Let's explore the psychology behind why the world quietly resists deep thinkers, and why your depth is not the problem, but the proof. Have you ever shared a thought, something profound, something vulnerable, and watched the room go silent? Not because people didn't understand, but because they didn't want to. In psychology, there's a term called social aversion, an instinctive discomfort we feel around people who disrupt the emotional balance of a group. Deep thinkers do exactly that, not through conflict, not through superiority, but simply by being aware of more than most are willing to see. You don't just speak ideas, you embody reflection. And that's uncomfortable for people clinging to certainty. Imagine this. When someone walks into a room with visible muscles, people say, wow, they must work out. When someone walks in wearing expensive clothes, people think, they must be successful. But when someone walks in and speaks from a deep intellectual or emotional place, the room changes, not in admiration, but in tension. Why? Because that person becomes a mirror, not a flattering one, but one that shows others what they haven't confronted, the gaps in their logic, the cracks in their beliefs, the parts they've ignored. And instead of leaning in, people armor up. This is called defensive projection. The deeper you go, the more others reflect their insecurity onto you. There's something no one tells you about awareness. The clearer you see the world, the harder it is to connect with people who don't want to see it. It's not arrogance. It's not elitism. It's the consequence of caring about truth in a world that rewards performance. Because while you're analysing motives, others are mastering masks. While you're asking questions, others are repeating answers. This creates a gap, not in intelligence, but in willingness. You're not better, you're just seeing more. And when you see more, you feel more. And when you feel more, you carry more. That weight, that's the price of insight. Let's go deeper, biologically. Studies in neuroscience show that when people feel intellectually threatened, a specific region in the brain lights up. The amygdala. This is the part of the brain responsible for fear, defense, and survival. Meaning, your intelligence, your questions, your curiosity can literally activate another person's fight or flight response. It's not personal, it's primitive. Humans evolved in tribes, and in those tribes survival meant one thing: belonging. If you were too different, too contrarian, too curious, you risked exile. And exile back then meant death. So today, when a deep thinker steps into a social setting and says something that disrupts the group's emotional status quo, that tribal instinct kicks in. They isolate the threat. And that threat is you. It's not just biology, it's social design. The algorithm doesn't reward thought, it rewards emotion, outrage, affirmation, drama. So while you're trying to explain a nuanced idea about consciousness or human behaviour, someone else is yelling into the camera. 5 ways to be successful. Right now. Guess which one goes viral? It's not your fault. You're not optimised for clicks. Here's the paradox. People say they want honesty. They say they crave truth. But when someone finally speaks it, clearly without sugarcoating, they pull away. Why? Because most people don't want truth. They want comfort. And truth almost never arrives comfortably. That's why deep thinkers often find most meaningful connections in private, but feel disconnected in public. In groups, social status becomes currency, vulnerability becomes a risk, and intelligence becomes a threat. That's the paradox. The more clearly you speak, the harder it is to be heard. Now, let's pause. If this feels familiar, let me remind you of something most people will never tell you. You are not broken, you are not too much, you are not too quiet, too analytical, too sensitive, or too intense. You're just wired for depth in a world built for distraction. You crave truth in a culture obsessed with noise. You reflect when others escape. So what now? Do you hide your thoughts? Do you pretend you don't care? Number. You build your peace by finding your people. Other deep thinkers, other quiet minds, the ones not afraid of discomfort, the ones who chase clarity. And when it gets lonely, because it will, remember this: you're not alone. You're just in rare company, and rare always feels lonely at first. Subscribe to Psychology Decoded for weekly insights into the mind, the truth, and everything we're not supposed to talk about. You're not alone. You're just early. You're optimized for truth.